Hello there, Arco here again. Welcome to episode 18 of my Ultimate Feed the Beast Let's Play. A couple of long episodes yesterday. I'm probably only going to do one episode today, but I've got a few things I want to get done. I'm still struggling for power. That's going down slow, so I'm having to run the quarry intermittently. I'm getting plenty of stuff in there. I'm just at the minute I'm still manually putting some into these guys. Into there, that is. Something I want to do with these is I want to start restricting what's in each one, so and you can prioritize them as well. So I could restrict the top one just to ingots, and then whenever you look in the terminal here, all the ingots have been in the right order up at the top, that kind of thing. So that's something I want to get on with, but that's probably not going to be in this episode. I've got some things I do want to do in this episode. A lot of the stuff for now I'm binning. I've put some temporary barrels over here for now. I've got some stuff in, like dirt and that, and the stuff that I'm not using, or the stuff that I've got a full barrel of, I'm just slinging in that into that void pipe there at the minute. I am going to have a tesseract go into a void pipe to get rid of stuff like dirt and cobble, but I want a barrel of each, a barrel's worth. I'm going to look at the applied energistics, see if there's a way you can actually specify an amount, so like keep 1,000 of something and then get rid of the rest. We'll see. This is for something coming up that some of you probably know what that is as soon as you see it. And because of our power issue, I've decided to make a steam boiler. It's going to go over there. I've got a bit of a plan for that, and I did something off camera to get that prepped. This is for the steam boiler. You need, I think I need 72 of these steel plates for the actual top of the boiler. That gives away what's going to be in there. We've got another spawner. That's what I did off camera. I went and filled up one of the spawners, and it was the blaze spawner. I filled it up in the nether. I headed in a direction. I found a second fortress. I was lucky enough to find 3 blaze spawners in the fortress, so I had that with the 2 that we already had in the first fortress. That got me the that let me fill up the blaze spawner. I'll just put these up here for now. It's a bit awkward, but I've got the blue electric furnace and the normal thingy furnace just up there for the time being. This is temporary, but I just wanted to get that out of the way a bit, so I'll just move that assembly over there. So yeah, this is going to be for our blaze spawner. I've just put this in to control it. This may go because I've got a plan for it to automatically turn on whenever we need blaze rods. So just to be clear, the plan is to make a steam boiler, solid fuel fired steam boiler that runs off blaze rods, and the steam boiler is going to go here on top, which I'm about to make, so actually might as well make that. 2 types of steam boiler. There's solid fueled and liquid fueled. They have similar recipes. I believe that's not the right one to press. This is the solid fueled firebox. Let me just check out the liquid one. I will probably make a liquid one at some point, because that was always a plan to make a liquid one for liquid fueled. Is that right? Liquid fueled firebox. So that one's a little bit different. The solid one just takes bricks. This one there, the liquid one takes bucket steel plates. So it's a bit more expensive to do the liquid one, but they actually put out the same power. So I've never actually made a solid fuel one before. I've always used liquid. But I think I just sidetracked myself. What I was saying was the plan was to use distilled bees, fuel producing bees, to produce my liquid. But I'm going to see how this blaze system works. Oops. On the main server, I've got 2 boilers running all the time. That's because I'm running 3 quarries all the time, and because 8's not correct. I can't add. Need some more bricks. I've got some more clay. Okay, it seems I may be out of clay, so I may have to come back to this at some point. I think I can make clear using aluminium stone and gravel. So let's have a look. Yeah, I run 2 steam boilers because I want plenty of power for my quarries and all the genetic machines with the bees that I was doing when I was producing, when I was breeding bees. But now I've actually got the bees all bred. It's not actually using a lot of power. So I'm thinking it probably would be better just to run it off 1 steam boiler and let it, there we go, cool. Let it share the power as it needs to. So let's just, there we go, yeah, that'll do. I only need another 7 at the minute, so I'll just do that real quick. So yeah, this is not ideal having stuff up on the roof here, but it's alright, it's no big deal. I've got the steel plates there. So the way you make a boiler, and now I made extra steel plates as well because I'm going to want some industrial steam engines and they use steel plates. So for what I'm doing at the minute, I actually only need 72. I just put 2 stacks of steel in there. I may have too many. We'll find out at some point, but I'm sure I'll find a use for them if I have got too many. So I need another 8 there. That's going to get me 36 high pressure boiler blocks. So what we've got here, oops, is you put the fireboxes on the bottom, and on top of them you put your high pressure blocks, and you can make this of various size, but I've always made just the biggest one I can make. I believe the biggest one is more efficient, so I always just go straight with the biggest one. So our brick should be cooked. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Fire charge and a furnace. Where's the furnace? There it is. Fire charge is just a bit of blaze powder, bit of coal, bit of gunpowder. Have I done that wrong? Oh no, not done the top level yet. So that goes there. Now that's become a boiler, but because I'm going to add more blocks to the top, it's going to break again, you see. So there we go. So there's the maximum size boiler. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the blaze spawner directly underneath it, and I'm going to feed blaze rods straight into here. So they'll fill that up. A couple more things I need to do. The way you kill blazes, by the way, blazes take damage from water. So first thing we need is we need a transposer. So I'm just going to make a transposer real quick. I believe I need piston, 1 bit of redstone, and a couple of bits of wood that I should have in here. I've had a complaint saying that about making background noises. I apologise. I'm not always the most quiet. There's sometimes some extra noises, banging in the mic and scratching my nose and stuff. I apologise for that. I'll try and keep the noise down as much as I can. Item tesseract here. I've got it called boiler, but we've got nowhere for it to go yet. So at the minute, until we sort this out, I probably actually better off actually making a new tesseract for that, aren't I? Because this is going to be underwater, and I don't really want to have to come back in here again. So send only to boiler. Okay, let's leave that as it is for now then. So the transposer there will suck things into that tesseract. I said before, the transposer will only work on things that touch it, but due to where we're putting the water, we have water block in each corner. The water blocks are going to damage the blazes, and they'll also push any blaze rods that get dropped into the middle. So it's like a double whammy there, which is pretty cool. I think I'm going to have to make another tesseract So I'm going to quickly cut the camera here, make a couple of tesseracts, just so I've got that sorted, and I shall be back in a bit. Hello, and I'm back again, and I've made a couple of tesseracts. We need 2 tesseracts on the back of the boiler here. We need a liquid and we need an item. Now for the item, I'm going to set it to receive only. Sorry, I've got a bit of an itchy nose. Receive only boiler, and the liquid needs to be set to water, and that needs to be receive only as well. So what should happen now is that should start filling up with water, and if you remember from when I said before, the water comes from this little setup that I've moved over here now. So you see they're all producing decent rate of water. It's getting sent into there. And just for a test, I'm going to throw something. Another brick will do. I'll throw something into our tesseract there. See if it ends up in the boiler. That should end up in the boiler. Yep, and there it is. So that's working. Now, as far as I understand it, they'll fill that up as well. The plan here is for it to be a sensor. So the wireless is just temporary for now, until I can actually get it set up right. But the plan is for there to be a sensor that, using an autarkic gate, that when there's room in here for blaze rods, then it'll cut the signal. That's stopping the spawner spawning. So it'll spawn until it gets some more blaze rods and turns the signal off. So it should be a self-feeding system. That's the plan. So we know that that works. We know that we've got water in there. We can get whatever goes down the transporter into there. So our next bit is I'm guessing a test. So I need 4 buckets of water. The only problem I can see us having here is the blazes may possibly spawn outside of the cage, which they shouldn't do. This is the same setup I've got on the other server. I think the spawner's 1 lower on the other server. It's a bit mucky, isn't it? I think that's because we're right on the edge of that wasteland biome, and in wasteland biomes the water looks horrible. So what this does, this damages the blazes, as I said before, and should always end up pushing me back to that middle spot, no matter where I start off. That looks good. Let's get our soul shard. Now, there's a signal there, you can see it's lit up, so this shouldn't start spawning things on me. There we go, there's our blaze soul shard into there. I'm going to do it safe and put a bit of glass there. And let's see what happens. So the blazes spawn into the water and take damage. Unfortunately, it's going to be a bit noisy all the time, but as long as they spawn in there, we should be good. Now you see the boiler's lit up. That means it's got power. Okay, but burns through them real quick. I thought they'd take longer to do than that. This may be a wasted effort. Because that, if that's the case, if they burn through that quick, that's never going to keep up. Unless I need to get a few in there at once to actually cause it to burn. Right, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to cut the camera a bit and see if this has been a bit of a waste of time, and I shall be back in a little while. Hello again, and I'm back, and I've scrapped this idea. It turns out that I should have maybe tested it before I started filming. I think once the boiler did heat up, it'd maybe keep up, but it was going from them blaze rods really quick. I've been on the main server and checked my friend's setup. He's using charcoal from his Steve Cat's farm, and it goes through charcoal real quick even when it's fully at temperature. What boilers do is they're less efficient until they reach 1000 degrees. Once they hit 1000 degrees, I think they're 8 times more efficient than when they're heating up. So it actually goes through the fuel a lot quicker. So I don't actually think blaze rods should keep up. They maybe would if it was fully heated. I have got options. I could do it with the Steve's Cats and make my wood into charcoal. But I think what I'm going to do is, these fireboxes were pretty cheap. I think I'm going to get rid of them and make it a liquid one. And the plan was always to get a refined bee that produces fuel. So I think I'm going to start pushing towards that. After this episode, I'm going to actually start pushing to that. The reason why I can do that is I've steadily been processing my bee materials. I've been squeezing stuff, getting honey drops and such like, putting the honey drops into the squeezer here, and I've actually got 27 alvery blocks, so I can make an alvery now. That's the amount you need. I'm going to change a couple of them into the mutator blocks. So I'm going to do the thermionic fabricator and some diamonds. Make some, I think it's diamantine electron tubes. So I should be able to breed with a very good success rate. So I should be able to breed up the refined bee pretty quick, I think. It may take me most of the day, but I should be able to get it to a point where I can start running that on fuel, which is a lot more efficient than the solid fuel. The actual liquid fuel seems to be really efficient if you look on the wiki. So I'm probably going to do that. So where's the blaze spawner gone? Well, I decided to move it to where the other spawner is. So I'll go have a quick look. And so there's our XP grinder. And if you look over here, I've pretty much done exactly the same setup as it was in the other place. We'll come under here real quick. You can come across to where the Tesseract is. The Tesseract is... I did that last time I was down here. If you click a Tesseract with the pickaxe or the core in your hand, you crash. The Tesseracts are sent to the ME network, so that just sends blaze rods there. I've got an issue with this at the minute, that it's only working when I'm here, even though the place is chunk loaded. So I'm going to investigate that a bit further later, but as long as I'm here, the blaze rods get sent back to the ME network. So I've just done the same as that side, it's got a lever here. As long as I'm here, I move the chunk loader there as well to see if, make sure it was covering on a small setting, so it's just set to 2. As long as I'm here, the blaze rods get sent to the ME network and the going fan. But if I go back to the factory, then nothing comes through. So I'm not sure what that's about. But as I'm not using this for fuel, I don't need a massive amount of blaze rods, so I can just turn that on and off as and when needed. And I'll just let them die off, and we'll jump back to the factory and I'll get on with what's next. So if you look in the ME network here, got 150 blaze rods now, so that's going to be good for ender chests and such like. So I can make more ender chests now. I can make an ender chest that I can dump stuff into. I can do some other stuff. So I'm getting on with that. What the next thing I wanted to do in this episode was sort out my lighting situation. Now there's a thing in the game called RAF lamps that are really awesome. They're from the factorization mod, and I'm going to show you how you make some, just if you didn't know. You need a few things. First thing you need is a block of diamond. Now because of GregTech settings, we need to, all blocks of stuff we need to make in a compressor. So you need to get 9 diamonds in a compressor. That'll get you your block of diamond. Around your block of diamond you need some TNT. Now this is the TNT that I pinched from where the XP grinder is. If you remember, I saved the TNT. Went back and got that. Someone in a comment nicely told me that you can just hit it with an axe and it'll break and it will explode. So I pinched that, so I've not had to make any of that. You surround that with obsidian. And what that does, you can craft it into a thing called a craft packet. It's a special craft packet. And what craft packets do, we can make craft packets for other materials, like axes or whatever. But this is a special one. This has to go into a craft packet stamper, which is this thing here. And that's pretty straightforward to make. It's just, I think, crafting table, piston. Yep, crafting table, piston, some cobble and some iron. That'll make you the stamper. So you just sling that in there. And what that does, it turns it into 18 diamond shards. So you're getting 2 shards per diamond there. And these can be used for a variety of things. The main thing you use it for, combine it with a bit of nether brick, you get a thing called a wrath igniter. Now wrath igniter can set fire to stuff, but it's a special wrath fire. One thing it can set fire to is iron blocks, so I've got 10 iron blocks here that I compressed in the compressor as well. And if I set fire to that, you'll see it's got its own type of fire graphic, and these are going to start, the fire spreads to all the other blocks around it. These are going to start changing colour in a minute. Ouch. So there you go. What's happened there is the wrath igniter has changed them iron blocks into what's called, oops, shouldn't do it with that, into what's called dark iron blocks. And amongst other things, these are pretty cool looking. You can make pretty badass looking floors and stuff and walls with them. What you can do is you can, if you break them, you end up with obviously blocks in your inventory. Now if you put them into your crafting square, you get these dark iron ingots. And dark iron ingots are pretty cool. This is what you use to make your wrath lamp. I'd like to make 10 wrath lamps, but currently I'm real low on silver. That's my lowest amount of ingots at the minute is silver. I've got 2 different types there. I've got 6. I'm going to use the 6 that I've got. What you do, you put some silver either side. You actually put your wrath light igniter in the middle there, and you get some glass. So I'm going to use 40 glass in total, but I think I've done that the wrong way around. There go top and bottom. Nope. What have I done wrong here then? Maybe remembering that wrong I must be. Wrath lamp. Oh, it's glass panes, of course it is. I think I've got some glass panes in here. Nope. Is it in there? Yep, there they are. Cool. So there we go. So you make wrath lamps. So I can only make 3 at the minute, so I'm going to make 2. And put them back in there, make another one. Now you see this takes durability from your wrath igniter. You get about 8 or 9, maybe 10, I think it's 8 or 9 lamps from each igniter. So you're going to have to, the more lamps you make, the more of these shards you end up using. But what these do, these are really good. They'll light up a massive area. Probably not going to be able to tell in here, but if I put 3 around there, they're not going to light right to the edge. They do like about 10 blocks in each direction. But they light up a good. Let's wait until it gets a bit darker. Get rid of some of these lights and see how much it does do for us. So I'm going to have to make some more, I think. I was going to put one. There's 9 chunks in here. I was going to put one in the middle of each chunk. That should light this place up pretty nice. We shall see. Let's see, first of all, I'm going to have to get some more silver. See that lights up the floor pretty nice. You can kind of see the circle there where the extent of the lamp is. So that's that. We can have a look at the board in a minute, see what's next. So after this episode I'm going to do some bee stuff, see if I can get myself a oily bee made, refined bee made. I'm going to try and go straight to the refined if I can. There we go, we're much lighter in here already, as you can see. Still got lamps from the outside, but better get rid of all them when I space these out a bit better. Alright, what we got on the board? I did some more stuff on here a couple of episodes ago, but because the episodes have been running long, I've not actually had a chance to look at it. What we've got: ongoing, Downcrafting bees, DNA tank, gene pool, tier 3 genetic machines. That's something I need to get on with. I need to start. I've got a lot of bees in a chest here, kind of overflowing with bees now. I need to start turning these into liquid DNA. Liquid DNA you use in some of the tier 3 genetic machines to actually genetically change your bees to have better stats. So that's something I need to be getting on with. I'll be doing that off camera because I'm trying to keep bee stuff limited in the actual Let's Play. So not everyone likes it. And start getting some of the genetic machines made. The basic one I want is the one that I can actually pull traits out of bees, and that don't actually need DNA, that just needs some buildcraft power. So I'll probably get that made as well when I'm starting to manipulate the bees to get the refined bees. Can BC power keep up? Well, we know the answer to that. No, it really cannot. Because of that, I'm going to expand the EU power as well. Now I've got some materials coming from the quarry that I've currently got turned off. I'm going to, I think, make 6 more of these thermal generators, and at least 1, maybe 2 MFSUs. I'm going to upgrade from these MFEs. I may just have 1 MFSU sat on top with everything getting piped into it, and then use that as shared power. It might be the way to go, I think. And then we'll show a bit about power generation. 9 of them. What's that? Nearly 200 EU a tick. A bit more than 200 EU a tick. So it's not bad. Still not an ultimate hybrid solar panel, but it's not bad. Okay, what's next? I was going to sleep then, but what bother? Titanium, grid tech electrolyzer and blast furnace. Well, we've done that, so that can come down. We've got them. Quarry, workout sorting before ME or in ME. Well, I've not actually started sorting out yet, but I've got the quarry done. I've not actually sorted any sorting out. As you saw, it's just going into that chest. What I'm going to do is get a Red Power 2 sorting machine, and I'm going to basically split things into 2. I'm going to have things that can go into the ME network, and I'm going to have things that are going to go to the void pipe. So pretty basic sorting setup. I'll put everything I want to keep, or I may actually set up so that everything I want to bin will go to a colour and everything else will just go to the ME network. So that'll be easy to set up. I'll probably show that next episode. I might get the things prepped and start the next episode with that. So that's that one covered. Automated solar factory. That's the goal for making EU power. Is I'm going to start setting up solar panels. Now, solar panels are pretty straightforward to make. You need an electrolyzer, or is it a centrifuge? You need to start making silicon plates in the blast furnace. I'll probably make 64 solar panels and then start upgrading them. What I want to do is I want to automate the upgrading of them using fabricators, so that each time you've got materials you can just pull a solar panel down off the roof, chuck it in a fabricator, and it'll become upgraded. We upgrade them to ultimate hybrids eventually. So you start off with 64 solar panels, make them into 65 advanced solar panels. That's pretty easy. Then the bit that takes time then is you need iridium, so you can slowly upgrade those into hybrids, and every time you get 8 hybrids you can make an ultimate hybrid. So as I say, I'm going to try and make that pretty much fully automated, that you can just throw your solar panel in, and yeah, we'll see. I've got plans, and I'll probably have to show you better than explain it. So that's a plan for there. And then on the end here, I've got display panel. There's a thing called an industrial information panel that comes from a mod called Nuclear Control, and the thing about it, there's a thing called a text card, and I think you can actually just write text to it. So if that's the case, I'm going to upgrade our wooden planning board here and make an industrial information panel with a text card, so we can actually have our plans laid out on a board, make it a bit more high tech, because that's not very technical, is it? And we're playing a technical mod pack, so I thought I'd do that. So I think that's it for this episode. Sorry it was a bit fail. I still got no power, but I have got the blaze farm now, so I've got blaze rods. So there's a little bit of success, but probably quite a bit more fail. So I hope it's enjoyable to watch, though, and I hope you'll join me next time. So thanks for watching. See you soon. Cheers. Bye.